One of the projects in the course is the Environmental Controversy Project. And you might be intimidated because it looks like there's a ton of deadlines, and I guess technically there are, but the goal is to break up the project into smaller pieces so that you're not doing everything at once. So here I am in our Blackboard course in the Environmental Controversy folder. And there is the instructions, there's information about sourcing items in APA. There's also going to be a flash talk that you guys will be presenting and sharing with the class, and all of the deadlines for that. In this folder are all of the actual assignments. These are in order of due date to kind of keep everything together in one place. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to open up the instructions and I'm going to briefly go through it. I'm going to expect you to read through them yourselves, but I just want to highlight on kind of the major parts of this project. So it starts off with the deadlines. These are the same things in the syllabus. This is the same thing listed in Blackboard. And essentially what you're going to be doing is you're going to be choosing a topic that has two sides. It might have more sides, but the goal is to kind of argue the two major points of this topic. Now, all of these topics have something to do with the environment. So for example, one of the topics I believe is solar energy or solar panels. There's the one side of like, yes, we should do it. We should invest in it. It reduces fossil fuel use, blah, blah, blah. But there's actually some downsides to solar panels, downsides that we don't really talk about. There's other topics that are maybe a little bit more cut and dry, like, oh yeah, there's these guys and there's these guys. So your goal is to choose a topic. And once you've chosen a topic, you're going to be researching both sides, creating a paper that outlines both of those sides, and then completing a presentation that is essentially just summarizing your paper, but in a way that you can share it with the class. So there is, and I'm going to show you this in Blackboard kind of at the end, but there is a list of topics for you to choose from. There's only one spot per student, so you want to finish this sooner than later if you want to choose something you're really interested in. And again, and you can choose whatever you want. If there's a topic you're interested in that's related to the environment that's not on that list, send me an email. And depending on what it is, it might get approved. So after you chose a topic, I want you to start looking for sources. I want you to start looking for information on both sides. But I probably don't need to tell you that the information that exists out there, not all of it is great. There's a really plethora of really poor information. So one of your assignments after choosing a topic is finding at least one source of information for both sides of your argument. So for example, sticking with solar panels, you might find a scientific journal article talking about the pros of solar panels, and you might find maybe a government article that's talking about some of the cons of solar power. Now, I will say not all topics have an environmental pro and an environmental con, but all of them, at least one side, is environmentally focused. So try to find that environmental focus for pros and cons, but I'm going to give you a heads up right now. Some of them, it's only one or the other. They're still cons or they're still pros. It's just unrelated to the environment. Maybe it's economy based, maybe it's civil rights based, etc. So you're going to be looking for good information, and on Blackboard, which I'll show you soon, there is a worksheet that essentially wants you to critically evaluate your source of information. And so I kind of forced you to do this so that you can make sure that the information you're using is good and you're not going down a rabbit hole of bad information. If you end up finding more sources, awesome. If you end up changing your sources, that's fine. But this assignment is meant to get you started on that research. You can do a rough draft of your paper if you'd like to. If you do, you get submitted to be able to do peer edits so you can look over someone else's paper. And if you do that, you get extra credit, but only if you yourself turn in a rough draft. And the rough draft is of your research paper. The research paper is pretty quick, only about 2 to 3 pages. You do need to cite and format everything in APA. I give you lots of instructions on how to do that. I do want to emphasize this bolded, underlined statement. Everything should be in your own words. There should not be any direct quotes. No direct quotes whatsoever. If you thought someone said something interesting, paraphrase it into your own words and then cite it. So I'm just highlighting that once again. In science, we very, very rarely directly quote anything. The goal is to paraphrase everything. Again, here's information about how to format your paper, what exactly you need to include, some general penalties, so be sure you look through those. And then finally, you have a discussion board post, which is for your flash talk. So you'll be creating a 3-minute presentation, and what that 3-minute presentation does is after every 18 seconds, it changes slides automatically. There is a template on Blackboard. There's actually a second video that talks more about that presentation, but it's out there, it exists. Watch that video, read more about it, but it is a 3-minute flash talk, and it's just your paper in presentation form. You're not making anything crazy new, you're not researching anything crazy. It's more of, you just spent this time researching this topic, now share it with us in a really quick and succinct way. Then the last thing, so you'll post on the discussion board so you can read and watch other people's presentations, leave some questions, leave some comments, and then finally there's just a reflection piece, just kind of reflecting on the whole process. And that's it. Look through these directions carefully. I know it's 5 pages long, but I try to answer every question that I've ever had related to this project in this document. So make sure that you're going through it. I have grading rubrics in here. You'll know exactly where you're getting your points from. Just to show you Blackboard real quick. So all of those assignments are here in Blackboard. For the topic selection, when you click on topic selection, it's going to take you to essentially a Wikipedia page that has all of the topics. You can click Edit Wiki Content, and then you essentially can write your name into one of those slots, and then just make sure that you click Submit. Going back to this project folder, just the last thing I want to show you is, remember, for the paper source evaluations, you're filling out a worksheet. So here's that assignment, and here's that attachment. So I'm just going to open it up just to show you it real quick. But once you open it up, it just has questions that you're answering about the 2 sources that you find. So that is everything that you need. Good luck. Read through everything carefully and enjoy.